I'm Jenny Fern and welcome to my library. I'm a chaotic neutral mechanical engineer who's really into permaculture and wants to talk about books. So let's talk about books. I got all of these for, well, I put in a $5 bill. It was less than $5. These are 10 cents each from Friends of the Library. So amazing. I'm so excited. I am going to be reading children's books in this vlog, and I will be giving these either to my little free library or to children I know in real life. We're gonna read some children's books in this vlog, and then I thought it would be fun to also get back in touch with our inner child and do some fun little activities like coloring with crayons or I don't know, something like that. So that's what this vlog is gonna be. It's gonna be children's books, having a good old time. So the first few books I have are It Didn't Frighten Me by Janet L. Gloss and Jerome C. Harst, and illustrated by Steve Romney. So that's what this looks like. I picked this one up because I really thought the illustrations were quite cool. El Pequeño Conejo Blanco. I guess this was a popular Portuguese story, and it was adapted by this person here. And the illustrations are by Oscar Villan. I just thought the illustrations were so cool in this one. Look at how rad that is. It's been a while since I've practiced any Spanish. And then there's Cool Time Song. And this has a bunch of like safari animals. And I thought the illustrations again were really cool. That's usually what I'm going off of when I get children's books, is that the story seems at least somewhat exciting and that the illustrations are really cool. I also got Jam and Ice Cream. I thought this would be good because it's such an early reader book. And again, I thought the illustrations were really fun. It is like the shortest book ever. And I got Toot and Puddle, Let It Snow. I just thought the illustrations in this were cool. Like gorgeous. So I guess I grabbed 5 books. I thought this was 4. So I'm gonna go read these now. So I read these 5 books, and let's go through how I felt about them. So this book has a very repetitive sentence structure, and on the back of the book it explains that you start reading this to your child, and then over time they can take over because they know what words like to expect. And then of course there's always like something that changes on each page, so they're still learning. Like here you have a pink dinosaur, so you're gonna learn, you know, like dinosaur and a color. I really enjoyed the illustrations on this one, even though they were also again repetitive because it's the same framework for each page. I liked it a lot. Then I read Toot and Puddle, Let It Snow. This was a very cute book. There are these characters, Toot and Puddle, and they are living in their various cabins in the wood. They are trying to figure out what they should make each other for Christmas this year. It's just very cute and wholesome. They're like cute little friends. So like, I don't know, it's like an atmosphere, a little woodland atmosphere, and then their friendship is cute. Jam and Ice Cream. This is so just a book for little children to learn how to read. Like on the back it's invitations to literacy. This is going to help little kids read on their own, but it is very fun. So you can kind of catch the theme where you have various jams and then you have a traffic jam. So that's kind of how this book goes. There's various something and then something a little like unexpected that's like a pun. The next book we had is Cool Time Song, and when I first picked this up, I thought this was a little silly because it's called Cool Time Song. I really loved this. I thought it was cute. In the end, the messaging is care for the water, tend to the land, laugh together. It's very sweet. Just, this is my town right now. I think it's gonna be over 100 today. Then I read El Pequeño Conejo Blanco, and that was great for me because I did learn some Spanish words, even at the very beginning. So He's looking for those green ball, the green ball vegetables. You read one book in Spanish and you forget English words. Okay, there's broccoli, there's cauliflower, cabbage. He's looking for cabbages in his garden to make a soup. I didn't know the word coles, and so I learned that. And also, like, vozarrón is like a loudmouth. Which makes sense because voz is voice and all that. But there were some fun things, again, for me, learning vocabulary. This poor little rabbit, he comes back to his house and his house is occupied by a giant goat. And the goat is like, I'm not getting out of your house. I'm in your house now. And so the rabbit is really scared. And he keeps like going around to different animals and he says like, he's gonna stomp on me or he's gonna squeeze me. Different things that he thinks that this goat might do to him. So that was good vocabulary for me. I think now we should do a little activity. And I've actually been thinking a lot about writing another children's book. And I've been thinking about writing a children's book about like these kind of like space microorganisms. This was a book that I wrote when I was a child, and I was like, I'm gonna write a children's book. And I used oil pastels, and it was like these little green glowing dots that were like in a little cluster together, and they were like traveling through space. I basically remembered this idea when a couple weeks ago I read Project Hail Mary. The life forms that they're kind of discussing really reminded me of this little children's book that I wrote. And I was like, oh, that would be so fun to do again. I think I'm gonna do some little artworks, different options for this children's book. I did do a little bit of mark making. I did some kind of weird tests here with crayons and markers. And I have this acrylic black paint. And I did this craziness, also watercolor. And I decided, I think, that I really like how it looks if I have something underneath and then I do a little bit of like streaky black acrylic over that. And with this one I went and colored over this with crayon as well. So I think that I might try to do something like that, but on a much bigger scale later. I don't think anytime soon, but we'll see. I'm back to read some more books. First I have Skippy John Jones in the Doghouse by Judy Shatner. And that is this. I picked this out because my husband had been looking at it and I asked him if I should grab it, and he said it's about a Siamese cat that thinks it's a Chihuahua. So I thought that sounded perfect, and I picked it up. After the Fall, it's like a Humpty Dumpty recovery story by Dan Santat. And this I picked out because the artwork is so weird. It kind of reminds me of that, what's that game with that little cat? Stray. Kind of reminds me of Stray, at least some of it. Then I have Astro, Raton y Bombita, and this is Pollo a la Vista. And this is Mi Primer Comic, 6 plus años. And this is a comic in Spanish. So that'll be good for me, again, for vocabulary and such. It seems kind of long. This one also seems quite long, and this looks really, really cool. This is called Spooky Stuffs, and it is Hawaiian Ghost Stories by Eric A. Knudsen, illustrated by Guy Buffet, an Island Heritage book. The illustrations in here look so cool. And it's like kind of dark, so it looks really, really cool. Then I have Penny and Lulu by Kevin Hawkes with miniatures by Hannah E. Harrison. So this looks like it's about a painter, his dog, and the illustrations in this are really quite something. Look at that. It's amazing. The one thing about this one is that I'm not convinced that a kid would like it that much. I have just come back from being outside. I was trimming down some bushes. I was taking my little cat out in the front yard, Gordon, taking him out into the garden and watering everything. I'm finally back inside. I did read a few books since we last checked in, but I didn't read everything from the list. But let's talk about them before they leave my brain. Okay, so I read Skippy John Jones in the doghouse, and I'll be perfectly honest, I found this book a little offensive. This is the one that I was so excited about because it's about a Siamese cat who thinks he's a Chihuahua, and I thought that sounded so cute because my little dog is part Chihuahua. I love cats. I've never had a Siamese cat. Like Lewis here. Whoa. Didn't realize when my husband was telling me what it was about that he wasn't like recommending it. There's a few things where it says like his old amigos, Los Chimichangos, and his name is Skipito. Everything's like something Ito. I mean, if not offensive, it's a little cringe. I don't really know how else to describe it. Anyway, I don't recommend this. Don't really know what I'm gonna do with it. I guess I'm just gonna donate it into my little free library. I don't know, maybe kids would like it. Then I read After the Fall, How Humpty Dumpty Got Back Up Again. And this was so good. The artwork, first of all, the artwork is stunning. And beyond stunning, it's like really impactful. There's like some really dramatic pages. I gasped. Like it's so good. There's like different ways that you can interpret this book, and I just thought it was so good. Also, so cute. This was a book that was given to a child from a doctor. And I think that's just so sweet because Humpty Dumpty has fallen and he is healing. Anyway, I really, really liked this. Really recommend this. Remy and Lulu. It's about this artist. He and the dog are living kind of out in the street. The dog ends up being this like very talented artist. There's these little illustrations that are like very ornate and detailed, and those are paintings from the dog. And the man has like poor eyesight, and he does much more like impressionist work. And the man has a really hard time selling his paintings because not that many people are interested in his style, but a lot of people really love the dog style. But the man doesn't even realize that the dog is painting these little paintings. So there's like some hurt feelings, and then, you know, anyway. It was okay. It was okay. It was not super impactful. So the two books from this batch that I haven't read yet are Spooky Stuffs, because this is quite a heftier book, and Astro Raton y Bombita. This one I have to like genuinely translate some things because I don't know that much vocab. That's the update. I need to drink some water. It has been a hot ass day. So I've just placed Skippy John Jones and Remy and Lulu into my little free library. The 2 books that I had picked out to read next, I'm just not really in the mood for them right now, so I'm going to read a handful more and then we'll save the challenging ones for later. So I have The Hating Book by Charlotte Zolotow. I really like the illustrations on this one, so I'm excited for that. I also have Whistle for Whistle by Ezra Jack Keats. And I have to be honest, I also really like the illustrations in here. They're very vibrant. Miss Rumphius? I think I saw maybe maybe this illustration when I was flipping through that I thought was just really pretty. There's also these really pretty illustrations here. I just thought maybe we would change up the scenery, but I am quite dark. But it is really, really, really hot, so I have the blinds closed. Here, maybe this is a little bit of a different scene. These 3 books, I really enjoyed all of them. I thought the art style was so good. The Hating Book. Such a cute book about miscommunication. There's a little girl, and she is saying, "I hate my friend." And her mom is like, "You should just talk to her about it." And then there's like all of these little slights that are occurring. I loved the scenes were like a little dramatic, like just, "Oh, I hated my friend." And she's just like walking around in a fall day. This is a really beautiful fall setting. This illustration is so brilliant. I just love it. So yes, I really loved the illustrations and also the messaging of this book. I thought it was very, very cute. Also, I should mention, something about this illustration style that I really, really enjoyed was the use of these watercolor backgrounds that are so, like, splotchy. Like up here, for example. I just think it looks really beautiful. Do you want a hug? Would you like a hug? Yes? If only my animals could read books. I would give them little books to read. They're so pretty. Next, we have Whistle for Willie. This is so cute because it's about this little boy who doesn't know how to whistle. And he's just going about his life doing the most relatable, most normal kid stuff. And it's so cute. Like, for example, on this page, he's like spun around in circles and now he's dizzy. Also, just the illustrations are so dynamic. He's playing with chalk. He's like dressing up like his dad. Just the cutest little kid stuff. And he is trying to learn how to whistle this whole time. So I think I'd also like to hang on to that one because I just liked it so much. So I'm gonna give that one again to a kid I know. The next book that I have is Miss Rumphius, and this was very, very cute. My impression, which I don't actually have anything to base that off of, but it seems like this is written by somebody who actually knew somebody like this in their family, because the story is about a woman called the Lupine Lady. She is the narrator's great aunt, I believe. She, as a little girl, is working with her grandfather, and then she becomes an adult and she travels the world. She goes to all sorts of different places, then she returns home and she settles down, and she's an old lady at that time. Her grandfather has told her this whole time that her like last mission, I suppose, is to make the world more beautiful in some way. And so she doesn't know how she's going to do this, and then she kind of does it by accident by planting these lupines. And so then she does it more intentionally, and she spreads lupine seeds all through town. I just thought it was very cute. It's such a cute little story with a cute little moral. I think I will put this in the little free library. So I'm going to read 3 more. I'm going to read Tacky the Penguin, which I flipped through this one quite a lot when I was at the library, and I thought it was so cute. And I'm going to get the the book that Jack wrote, which has very disturbing illustrations. So then I'm gonna read Fiesta by Ginger Fogglesong Guy. Ginger Fogglesong Guy? I've just read Fiesta. This was very cute. I forgot when I picked this out that this was a bilingual book. It is a counting book, and it's also like bilingual vocab for English and Spanish. I'm gonna keep this for the kid that I know. And then I also read Tacky the Penguin. This was such a cute story. This was so cute. Can you even? This is about a penguin who doesn't fit in. He's tacky. All of the other penguins are very like proper. Then some hunters can't come to see him. Just look at him. Look at him. He's so cute. This was a good one. I'm gonna keep this for the child as well. So I did look this up. This was written in 1994. So I probably did see this as a kid. This was really weird. This was really weird. Oh, he wrote the true story of the 3 little pigs. Oh my god, and the Stinky Cheese Man? Okay. So this guy was around. This guy was around when I was a kid. I feel like I know this story. Was this a story before he wrote it? I know it's a dumb question. I didn't really enjoy this. I didn't really like this. The illustrations are so weird. So weird. Like, what the hell? Like, what is that? I didn't think it was cute. It was weird. I didn't really like it. I know kids like weird things. I know a kid will like this. It's in great condition as well, so I'm really happy about being able to donate a book that isn't super tattered. So now, for our inner child activity for today, I need to hang up some laundry on the drying clothesline. So I am going to do that. It is so hot today, so I'm going to hang up my laundry, and then I'm going to set up a sprinkler, and I'm going to run through it. So that's the fun little child activity for today. For my childish activity now, I have onion rings on my fingers, and I'm gonna eat them. Because playing with your food, and specifically putting food on your fingers, seems like a very peak childhood thing. Like putting little black olives on each finger, putting little bugles on your fingers, and pretending to be a witch. Speaking of witches, I have been reading The Witch Who Is Afraid of Witches, and I am using 2 picture books as a bookmark. But I have to mention, so far this book, there's a witch, she lives in a world with other witches, and she doesn't quite fit in. She has a magical broom, and the broom is like some element of the source of her magic. And her broom goes missing, and I'm just gonna say, this doesn't read as something's familiar to me. Like, I'm not reading it and getting like flashbacks or anything. I'm a little concerned that I like internalized this book, that I read it at some point and just like brought it into my brain. Because I wrote this book, Mitch the Human Witch, which is not fully the same plot, but part of the plot is there's a witch. She lives in a village with other witches, and she doesn't really fit in with them very well, but her broom goes missing, right? If you want to pick up my book that I've literally never mentioned, I don't think maybe at all on this channel, this is available on Amazon as a digital book. So you can pick this up. It is under Jenny Fern. It is Mitch, the Human Witch. I'm in the middle of reading this, not done yet. I have to talk super fast because I'm really low on storage on this thing and I have to like move a bunch of videos over, but I want to give my updates. So, my updates. I read Regards to the Man in the Moon, and I just have to say, I've been seeing a lot of books by Ezra Jack Keats. This was a little weird. The start is incredibly weird because it's like he's at this like junk man's house and he says, "What's up, Louie? Why so sad? The kids are laughing at me." "Laughing at you? Why?" "Well, come on, you can tell me. I'm your pop now." Like, what? What is this relationship? Super weird. But the rest of it is basically they're making like a little imaginative rocket ship out of just the garbage that they have at their home. It's a little troubling. Well, this looks very artistic. Let's I keep running out of space because I have so many videos. I've been filming so many videos recently that I have a billion of them. Okay, so I really liked the artwork. It's like this kind of combo of collage and like, I don't know, it's like super mixed media, very cool, a little bit James and the Giant Peach vibes. Like, really liked the artwork. I am gonna hold on to this to give to a child. And then the other book that I read real quick is Lion Lessons by John Agee. I do actually really like the illustration style here as well because it's really simple and it's very like effective. I did really enjoy it. And like here, like just can't you imagine that you as a kid would be markering kind of similar to this? Like I know that the artist has a lot more skill. So it's about a little kid. He is taking a class. He walks into a class that is lion lessons, and it's how to be a lion. And it's taught by a real lion. And so he puts on his little lion costume, and he learns how to like pounce, how to growl, how to like be scary and stuff. And then he uses his skills at the end of it. Somehow I don't want to spoil this book. So anyway, you'll just have to read it to see what happens. I've eaten my little onion rings. I've given my updates real fucking fast because I really need to edit some videos and I just have no desire to edit videos. I just want to read children's books, okay? The sun is setting. We don't have a lot of light, but I just have such a charming little update. I was in the front yard watering my garden and this little family was at the little free library that I stored in my front yard. And they were like, "Oh, you want to look at books?" with their little kid. And then they got so excited. It makes me so happy. I love hearing families that walk by that there's like some aspect that they can get something out of my yard. I have all of these silly little yard art things, and anytime a little kid like mentions them or gets really excited about it, it kills me every time. So happy that I was able to give a book to that little kid today. And I cannot remember at all what that book was or what it was about. I'm so happy for this child. I think they took the one with the Siamese cat. I need a cool drink and some more children's books. Stat! I'm reading this chapter book. I'm gonna read some easier books. Okay, this one's in Spanish as well. ¿Qué estás haciendo? We have Grunge Music by Teddy Ruxpin. The grunge music, Teddy Ruxpin, just thought it was so funny that I had to get it. Because what is that even going to be? Oh my gosh, I'm almost at the end of my books, you guys. This is upsetting. I also have title pools, Pua Pua Lena Lena, and The Magic Kihapu, which is a Hawaiian story. And then the other books that I haven't read yet are The Astroraton and Spooky Stuffs. I think this is one that I haven't mentioned yet, and it is Hans Christian Andersen, The Steadfast Tin Soldier, retold and illustrated by Joo Hee Yoon. You'll be seeing me in artificial light soon. So I just read 3 books. I read ¿Qué estás haciendo? By Elisa Amado and Manuel Monroy. I also read Tidal Pools. This doesn't have an author. Inside it says Meredith Costain. And I read this Teddy Ruxpin grunge music book. So this one here was fully in Spanish. It was totally within my vocabulary, except for one page where a guy is working on a car. So I got to learn broke down and filthy. So on this page, there's descompuso and mugroso. So I got to learn those 2 words. I thought the illustrations in this were quite cute. Not exactly anything fancy. They were very simple, but very effective. I enjoyed the story. I thought the story was really cute. It's about this little boy. He doesn't want to go to school. After he asks them, "What are you doing?" They're like, "I'm reading something." And he's like, Why? And then they answer him. And I just thought it was so cute because it's a really cute book to get kids like interested in reading, especially a curious kid seeing all of these adults around him reading, and he's like, "Why are you reading?" It's very cool. So when I was reading Tidal Pools, I was thinking about Animal Crossing because, you know, you can get a starfish, you can get a crab, you can get a snails and different shells and stuff, and you can get seahorses and stuff. So I was just thinking about my silly little game and how I didn't learn anything from this book. I don't know why I was expecting that I might learn something from this book. It's for children. This is one of the most elementary books, and I was just like slightly disappointed. This grunge music, Teddy Ruxpin. I've never had a Teddy Ruxpin. I've never experienced the Teddy Ruxpin experience. I've never had a Teddy Ruxpin book. I did look up what the grunge music was. Okay, so some context. This book is copyright 1985. I don't know why I thought this was going to be actual grunge music related. I thought maybe this book series like did different genres of music and like had some sort of like kid-friendly interpretation with like illustrations and stuff. But no, there's a character called Grunge, and it's trademarked, which is so crazy because, as we all know, grunge became literally grunge music became a full-blown phenomena. So how did I feel about this? I love the setting. I feel like it's so vibrant. It's such a very cool setting. There was no plot. I don't know why I thought there might be a plot. You're supposed to like listen to different songs. Like, I think this is a song, and like we get to this other page and there's a different song. Like, this is a very dumb illustration. Unfortunately, there's this page which is completely ruined by some child. I'm not sure really what I was expecting here. I think this I might end up just keeping because I think it's so funny. It's so funny and iconic that I might just keep it. I think I'm gonna go to bed early, so goodbye. I just finished reading this, The Witch Who is Afraid of Witches by Alice Lowe, with pictures by Jane Manning. This is a chapter book, a very short children's chapter book, and it is about a witch who has 2 older sisters who are kind of mean to her, and they leave her behind on Halloween. She meets a little boy who's dressed up as a ghost, and she turns him into a witch. She learns that she has her powers. It was cute. and I liked it. So this is destined to go into my little free library, so I took off the library dust jacket so that it'll seem a little bit more appealing to kids. I finished all the books. What are we doing? Why are we here? Sorry, my little dog is at my feet. You want to lay down, maybe? So I read Pua Pua Lena Lena and the Magic Kihapu. This was such a weird book. This is like a Hawaiian folktale kind of story. It just kind of drops you in. Kind of like if you're reading like a fairy tale and it mentions like an ogre or a troll or something, and you already have an idea of what an ogre or a troll is. Or maybe you don't and you're just a little kid who's learning about it for the first time, but they don't like tell you what a troll is, right? So that was the same experience with reading this book, but it's with Hawaiian stuff. So I didn't know what any of this was, so I kind of felt like a little kid reading this, where I was like, I don't know what any of this stuff is. I don't know what any of this is. It just doesn't explain anything until the very end. There's like a little picture glossary, so let me show. So basically it gives you the context first, and then it gives you some definitions. So like, for example, the uhane was, well, like a little goblin or a ghoul or whatever. I'd say sometimes I really liked the artwork and sometimes I didn't. So the artwork was like a little inconsistent to me. The story was pretty cool, super weird, and not like anything I'd read before. Then I read The Steadfast Tin Soldier, a Hans Christian Andersen story, retold and illustrated by Ju Hee Yoon. I didn't really know this story, but this was very depressing. But illustrated in just the coolest way. Like, stunning illustrations. But also, like, gruesome at the same time. This was a little weird, especially for a Christmassy book. It was very, very gruesome and sad, which I understand is probably what this story is. I'm not so sure if I would want to read this to a little kid, to be honest. I don't know, maybe it's fine. Kids are weird. Kids are really gruesome in themselves. A little sad, a little morose. Then I read Spooky Stuffs, Hawaiian Ghost Stories by Eric A. Knudsen. Very unique. This is not exactly a children's book. This kind of was like a little memoir. This is written by a man who grew up on Hawaii and had his family there for a long time. So it seemed like this was written in around the 1930s to maybe 1940s. Based on this date here, this is 1936, but I think he does mention something that happened in 1941 in the story. And this was published posthumously by his wife. So it's interesting. Yes, it was published in memory of her late husband in 1974. So I think it's compiled as a grouping of ghost stories, and some of them are stories from people that he knew, that he just wrote down. Some are his own experiences or things that he was told, and then his experiences in the areas where like the myth comes from. And some are just stories about living on the island. I do feel like I learned quite a lot about Hawaii through this book, but again, I didn't really think that this was a children's book. My favorite story, I think, was this one here. Her name was Ilianu. This story really didn't fit in this book at all, and I thought it was very cute. It's about a girl who was named by the author's mother. It was not her child, but the mother of the child wanted his mother to name her. And so she came up with a name, Na Wai Maka, which means the teardrop, and is the name for a stream. And everybody was like, this is so beautiful. And then the little girl was caught in the rain and she was like all goose flesh. And so she was named Ilianu for cold skin. And so that was her name for the rest of her life. And the mom was kind of like, oh, come on, why can't we name her the cute name that she used to have? And I thought that story was very cute. The next book that I read was Astroraton y Bombillita, and that was issue number 2, Pollo a la Vista. I did not know so much vocabulary in this book, but I chose to just not look it all up because I could understand the flow of the story. And so I just decided, okay, I'm just gonna read through it. And this was quite a lot of words, as you can see, like, that's quite a lot. I really enjoyed this. I thought it was fun. I enjoyed the artwork. It's a little gross. It's like a little gross of artwork, like, you know, but I thought it was fun. And it was definitely helpful for me to kind of get into Spanish a little bit more. Anyway, this is about a rat and a light bulb. They, and there's also a lamp. And a little pile of poop. And they are in a spaceship traveling around, and they pick up this like green goo, which turns out to be dinosaur snot. And in the goo is this little character, the space chicken, whatever his name is, Astro Pollo. And he decides, hey, I am the captain of this ship now because I am the most decorated captain. And then he realizes that he's missing his medal. And he's like, we need to find my medal, but I'm still the captain. And he makes them do like a bunch of chores and stuff, and they want to mutiny. That's basically what the story is about. This will be going in the little free library. I thought we might as well look at all the books again real quick and see which ones I'm gonna put in the little free library and which ones I'm gonna keep. So I think I'm gonna have Let It Snow go into the little free library, but maybe in a few months I might hold on to it. It depends on if the kids take the books consistently, then I can put it in there. I'm also going to donate El Pequeño Conejo Blanco, which I thought I had put in the little free library, but I hadn't. And so I'll put that in there. I'll also put in ¿Qué estás haciendo? And I'm kind of torn on this one because I think this one would be a good book for a kid that I know, but I'm going to donate it because I think kids in my neighborhood could use this a little more. Then we have The Witch Who Was Afraid of Witches. And I'm going to donate this because I don't know any little girls who are at the age to read this. This was so nostalgic for me. So up my alley for what I loved as a kid. And I'll be donating Miss Rumphius, even though I really enjoyed this story. I just think it could go to a kid in my neighborhood. Of the ones that I just read, I'll be donating Astroraton, because I think, again, kids in my neighborhood would go wild for that. I'll also be donating Spooky Stuffs, but maybe a little later. I think I might hold on to this for a little bit and then put this in more towards October. Similarly, this, The Steadfast Tin Soldier, I'll be putting in, but maybe a little bit more towards Christmas. And I'll be donating Pua Pua Lena Lena and The Magic Kihapu. I'm not sure. I just think that the book was a little too much text for right now. These two I'm not really sure what to do with. I think the grunge music one, I think it's just so funny that I'd like to hold on to it myself, maybe as like a prop around the house. And then the hating book, I really liked this one and I love the art style. So I'm also just thinking of holding on to this one, maybe giving it to a kid. For the kid that I know, I'm going to be giving the book that Jack wrote. Even though I don't like it, I do think kids would really like this, so I think that'll be a good one. It's also such a high quality book. Like, it's not dirty, it's not torn in any way, so that one's going to the kid. Also, Lion Lessons, I just thought this was very cute, very kid-friendly. Whistle for Willie. So this one is going to the kid. Loved this. This was such a cute book. Jam and Ice Cream is a very, very young book, and I think this one will be good. What is my dog doing? Clove? What is that? What are you doing? I've caught you doing something. I will also be giving It Didn't Frighten Me. Even though this is an older book and it's kind of worn, I really, really liked this. Fiesta is definitely going to the kid that I know. I think this was a really good book to start down the path of being bilingual. After the Fall, my heart and soul for this book, definitely going to this kid. Tacky the Penguin, going to the kid. Loved this book as well. Regards to the Man in the Moon is going to the kid. Tidal Pools is going to the kid. And Cool Time Song. I actually really liked this one, even though just the cover, something about the cover, I thought it was going to be bad, but it was really good. So that's it. So I just want to remind you all again, each of these books was 10 cents, so I got all of them for less than $5. There are a handful that are already in the little free library. If I missed some at the end of this video, they are already in the hands of a kid or waiting to be in the hands of a kid. If you live in a neighborhood with a lot of kids, if you have a little free library and there aren't kids' books in there, consider going and getting some and redistributing them to the kids in your neighborhood. I've found that it's really appreciated. That's my little plug. I have to do a inner child activity today. I decided to pick blackberries, and these are them. Not very many, but at least this one looks really good. So I'm gonna go eat these now. So that is all I had for reading children's books. We read all of them. It was such a fun trip. I had a great time. Let me know in the comments if there's been any really excellent children's books that you've read recently, or weird ones. I'm also open to that. If you enjoyed this video, consider sharing it with a friend who you think would also enjoy it. Consider liking and subscribing. And I will be back again soon.